are ever really looking at, okay, how to improve or repair credit, if you have a client or a family member or a friend that's saying, what can I do? I'm serious about wanting to improve my credit score, either because they don't have good credit, they've had a bunch of negatory things happen and derogatory, and so they want to, do some improving, or maybe they have good credit and they're just always trying to have a little bit better credit. So there's many late night TV ads about fixing and repairing credit, and most of them will advise you to do things you can do yourself, and some of them will encourage folks to do things that are unethical, like filing consumer disputes on things that are actually accurate, hoping that it will fall off. Well, it might disappear briefly, but if it is legitimate, it'll come back on, so that's a hoax and it's not ethical. But that's the kind of stuff that you'll see a lot of times. What really helps every time, and the only stuff that really will help every time long term, is what you see on the screen, and it's very much what you were saying in the chat queue. So if anyone is starting from that space of trying to improve their score, I always recommend just draw yourself a line in the sand, and from this day forward, no matter where you're starting, but from this day forward, make payments on time every time. Now, if you wrote it down earlier, that's 35% of your score. Pay down debt. And if it's a installment loan, pay extra towards the principal. If it's a revolving account that only requires interest payments, pay extra towards pay down debt. That's 30% of the score, so we're 65% of the way there already. Leave the oldest revolving credit account open, at least one, or maybe a couple, but at least one, your oldest one, leave it open if you can. That's 15% of your score. And then hold off on applying for new credit, because that's a 10% ding immediately. Now, it levels off after about 5 to 6 months, but if you are applying for new credit, even if you're not approved, those hard inquiries, and once you are approved, that new trade line, it's not a huge impact, but it's always a negative impact, so hold off on that. If you will just do those things, within 12 months, there's not a person out there that wouldn't see a dramatic increase in their credit score. And the worse their score is now, the greater and the more dramatic that increase will be 6 to 12 months later. The reasons why it works are also on the screen. Payment history and amount of debt are the two biggest factors, 65%. We've said that several times. And the last 2 years of history weigh most heavily in the score. So what you do today is the most important thing you can do. The next most important thing you can do is what you did yesterday and the day before. In other words, this month's or this last month, if you look on your credit report, whatever happened last month counts more towards your score than what happened 12 months ago. And what happened 12 months ago counts more than what happened 2 years ago, and so on and so forth. So the last 2 years of history are going to work for you if you do those things above. And then the length of credit history will be getting longer because you're going to leave the oldest trade open, and you won't be taking on new debt. That is the whole ball of wax right there, my friends, and that is not always what you hear. There's so much fluff and misdirection on all these other things. We'll get the right mix of credit, and just so many things that you hear about that really miss the mark.
Pinnacle Bank is a member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Neither Pinnacle Bank or its affiliates are a registered broker-dealer. Securities and/or insurance products are not deposits, not insured by the FDIC or any other government agency, nor are they guaranteed by Pinnacle Bank. They are subject to risk and may lose value. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The purpose of this series is to provide helpful information on the subject matter covered. It is offered with the understanding that Pinnacle Bank is not rendering legal or accounting advice. Since the details of your situation may be fact-dependent, you should additionally seek the services of a competent professional regarding your personal situation.